Just recently, the staff at Wine World had the pleasure of meeting with and learning from Stephen Pauwels of Boulevard Brewing. Here is an encapsulation, and we hope you find it as informative as we did.
But that's really how a cone looks like. So these are harvested probably about 2 weeks ago or so. So this is basically the flour that we use, and if you open one of those and you look in the middle, you see that there's a lot of yellow dots on there. These what we call these lupulin.
Can we touch it?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And in the lupulin, that's where the we call them alpha acids are, and also oils. And then the alpha acids will isomerize when put in the kettle, and they will give the bitterness to beer. So this is the component that gives the bitterness to beer. But also the oils give a lot of aromatics. So when you add hops to your beer, you basically create two flavor components. You get the bitterness that you create, but also a lot of the aromas. And that you will notice in a couple of these beers is how these hops relate and give character to the beers. We basically start with 4 ingredients. We start with water, then malted barley or grains, hops, and yeast. And all 4 of them have an impact on how the flavor works. I know you guys are all really big in wine, or you know your wine pretty well. And we make a little bit of wine, so I know enough about wine to be dangerous about it. But if you compare it to wine, when the winemaker gets the grapes in, he's basically 90% done making the wine. There's not much really he can do. He can really screw it up and get the wine 80% of what came off the field, or he can do his best and make it a really good wine. In beer making, it's just a little different. We get the ingredients and we basically start from that. We pay a lot of attention to our raw material, of course, but we have a lot more leverage to make the beers.
Now, to give you guys an idea of the quality of these beers, if you go on ratebeer.com, these are all 98, 99 point beers on ratebeer.com. And another thing that was kind of neat, Stephen was selected to be one of the judges at the GABF this year, which is a pretty neat deal. And he's also going to be the keynote speaker at the Big Barley Wine Festival that they have up in Anchorage, Alaska as well.
All day long.
Okay, this is there's no sugars added. The yeast that we use is a Belgian strain. I'm not going to tell you what it is. It took us 2 years to figure out. It took us 2 years to figure out what yeast we could use. You know, we use the same yeast in a lot of our different beers. We're trying to stretch and push and pull the yeast as much as you can to get different flavors out of it. And I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Right, of course not. But no sugars.
No sugars. But what we do, and I'll tell you, is we use some corn in there. And corn will make the beer drier. So it's a way to dry out the beer because it's almost 100% fermentable. But yeah, there's no sugar in there. So it's barley malt, a little bit of wheat, and quite a bit of corn in there. And corn is used by the big brewers to make beer blah. Well, we use this to make the beer drier, but still keep the flavor in it.
German purity law?
Oh yeah, the Germans believe that beer can only be made from those 4 ingredients. So they don't believe that you can add sugar, you can't add any additive to it. In my opinion, so you can't add fruit, you can't add corn, you can't add any of these. I think it's great for them, and I think it was the right time when they did that law in the 14th century. We live in the 21st century now. We have gizmos that, like you have in your hand. They didn't have those, but it was a quality reason because the beer was bad. They were adding all kinds of stuff to make the beer cheap, but still sell it as beer, and it was the right thing to do. Right now, I think there's some fruit beers out there. There's beers out with corn. I mean, we couldn't make Tank 7 that way that we do if we had to follow the purity law. I'm not German, I'm Belgian. And in Belgium, we throw anything in.
I thought you were from North Dakota.
North Dakota, Belgium. Yeah.
So many times I've often thought that Belgian beer is so strong that it must have been because the monks who were making the beer could only have 1 beer a day. So they probably figured if I'm going to have one beer, it better have a wallop. Like, it better have some alcohol. But it's probably no truth to that.
No, there isn't.
So, but it sounds good.
It sounded good.
So is there a reason why the beers are so rich in high alcohol?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
It was a
why.
dating thing. Have you ever heard the thing? You know, you're gonna have, honey, we'll just have one beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the monks do. They have usually the monasteries that make beer. They make a lighter beer for the monks. Not a lighter beer, but lower in alcohol. So like Orval has Orval Green, which they serve at lunch for the monks. But the like the triples that the monks make, triples and doubles, they come from the brewing technique in the past. So the 3 crosses on the barrel was the strongest beer, and that's where the triple comes from. The 2 crosses on the barrel was the double, not as strong. So that name kind of rolls back to what they were using and how they were making their beer.
There's a lot of oil. My hands are really sticky.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, you're sitting next to somebody on the plane, and you're flying back to Kansas City, and somebody's like, it smells good. And you smell your hands for probably 2 or 3 days after a trip like this. It must take a while.
You should smell our rental car. It smells awesome.
I know the
We knew we were in trouble when we landed because it was covered. The car was covered, but the windows were down. Like, okay, a smoker was in the car. Okay, no big deal. We're like, well, we'll fix this real quick. We knew we were going to bring these back for you guys. So yeah, whole car. It smells like a big old pine tree.
And are these used in your beers right now? So we could
Yes.
say that this hops was in this beer, so we took a couple of your beers over.
Yeah, this one for sure. This one is linked to Tank 7. This one is linked to Double Wide IPA. This one is Boss 47.
Yeah, they got a little stack over there.
Yeah, this one is Boss 47. This one is one that we use as almost like a building block. It helps push other hops out. It goes in a lot of different beers.
Well, we'd like to have you come back when next time you're in town, and we'll do something for the general public.
Sure.
Where you won't be able to have fresh hops necessarily, but it would be fun to
We'll have beer.
have you just do beer. And so I wanted you to ace in the store and meet our staff and have a few minutes, but also for us to learn something about doing the hops. Because this is time.
I have actually grabbed hops.
Yeah.
And we love it.
We love it too.
It's always nice to be
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
It's a hop handshake.
There you go.